Hey, how's it going everybody? Force here, and today we're going to be taking an in-depth look at Atlas Reactor. This is a recently released turn-based strategy PvP game from Tryon Worlds. You may have heard of that developer before, as they're responsible for games like Rift, the Western version of ArcAge, and Defiant. Now, this is a sponsored video. They reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked if I was interested in taking a look at the game, to which I said, you know what, I've liked Tryon titles before, plus I've had a few close friends of mine play Atlas Reactor and have some really positive things to say about it. So I thought, why the heck not? Over these past few days, I've played several hours of this game, and I feel like I've got a pretty good understanding of what it is, how it functions, and I'd like to sort of share that information with you guys here today. So let's go ahead and get things started with the bare bones basic. Once again, this is a turn-based PvP game. I guess the best way to describe it would be take XCOM and make it a competitive multiplayer game, and you more or less have Atlas Reactor. Throw in this like future cyberistic slant, and that's basically the game. Now, how does it play? What's the gameplay like? Well, it's a 4 vs 4 multiplayer game, and the goal is to get 5 kills or the most kills after 20 rounds. Each round lasts 20 seconds and is broken up into 4 different phases. There's the prep phase, dash phase, blast phase, and then the movement phase. Now, all of the characters in this game, which are called freelancers, have abilities that work in each of those phases, and basically all 8 people decide what they want to do during the next turn. Depending on their actions and the actions of the other players, how it all rolls out is going to be based on the order of operations, which goes prep, dash, blast, and then movement. So basically, if I do a prep ability, it will activate before an opponent does a dash, blast, or movement ability. So depending on what category of ability you use, it determines what is going to hit or not. Or another example is if I try to do a blast ability, and these are generally attack style abilities, things that deal damage, but an opponent does a dash ability on that same turn, I am going to miss them unless I happen to do a blast ability to where they are moving. So it's this mind game of using your abilities and how the different phases work, and looking at what your opponents have access to, what abilities they still have, what their cooldowns are, and then predicting what is most likely that they're going to do. All of this stuff you have to decide and figure out within these 20-second intervals before the round commences, and it's really kind of a trip. It's one of those games, like other hero-based games, like MOBAs, for example, that will have a pretty steep learning curve. Now, fundamentals I've been able to pick up in the few hours that I've played so far, but the fact of the matter is that there are 23 characters, all of which have these different abilities, and you're not going to know all of them right when you start the game. So figuring out exactly what your opponents will do is going to take some time until you've really played a bunch and have a good understanding of what the different freelancers have access to, and then trying to figure out and discern what the opponent is actually going to do. And that's the other thing. It's kind of like, I guess it's sort of like a game of chess, in that you could try to predict what someone's going to do, or you could think, all right, this is the most likely thing that they will do, but they could then counter your logic. They could say, all right, assuming that my opponent is going to assume I'm going to do this, I am going to do that instead. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of a trip, and I think that level of depth is one of the things that I've really enjoyed the most about this game. Now, the character that I played the most is this tank character that has a cone attack, a dash ability that ricochets off of characters, a ranged slow, and ultimates. That's one thing that I forgot to mention. All the characters in this game have an ultimate, and the general function as to how it works is you will have your base abilities that will build up energy, and then once you reach your max energy, you can do your ultimate. Now, it's been my experience that you're only going to be able to ultimate about once per game. I haven't seen any games actually in the time that I put in so far where any of the freelancers were able to cast more than one ultimate. I'm not saying it's not possible, because it certainly is. It's just a matter of, do you build up enough energy to use your ultimate twice in a match? It seems like it's a rare occurrence. I haven't seen it, at least in my matches so far. Now, something else you'll also notice are these little power-ups that are located throughout the map, and they do things like increase your movement speed, increase your damage, heal you over time, and then also give you increased energy for your abilities, and that energy being the system that builds up to your ultimate ability. In terms of the gameplay modes, there is a solo option, there's a game mode versus bots, there's also the basic PvP, and then there's the ranked mode and custom games. The game has quite a bit of customization, with you being allowed to modify your abilities, changing slightly what their effects are. There are also these powerful catalysts Catalyst abilities that everyone has access to, and then there's things like custom skins and taunts, and as far as I can tell, all this stuff can be unlocked by just playing the game, gaining experience, and earning in-game credits. I'm gonna tell you right now that I do like Atlas Reactor, but I know immediately, because this is a sponsored video, people will come out and say, well, you're only saying that because it's sponsored. But what I try to focus these videos on are less my opinions and more showing you the game to give you an idea of what it is, and then decide for yourself if it's something you're interested in. And that's even easier with a game like Atlas Reactor because you can play it for free. It's got a free mode that gives you access to 6 of the 23 freelancers. It's a rotating cast that changes weekly, but you can play the game, everything but ranked mode, which frankly, I haven't even stepped into rank mode. I've just been doing the basic PvP, and I've really been enjoying it. Either way though, I hope this video gave you guys a good understanding of what Atlas Reactor is and helped you decide if it's something that you're interested in checking out. Either way though, thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you do decide to give Atlas Reactor a look, there is a link in the video description below. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to Tryon Worlds for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys for making these sort of opportunities possible. If it weren't for you watching, none of this would happen. So thank you all guys so much. Hope you have a good afternoon, and until next time, I'll see you later.